Welcome back into Bracket Buster Breakdown. We are through the first round of the NCAA tournament. What a week it has been so far. We've had upsets, we've had blowouts, we've had a lot going on. It is time to recap all of it. We're going to start off in the East region as we did originally. We had some very interesting games happen here. First one being UConn, the number one overall seed, defeating 16 seed Stenson 91-52. No real surprises there. UConn they are a freight train, and Stenson was just in the way at this moment. So UConn easily advances to the round of 32. Moving on to the 8-9 game, a very interesting game, a very poorly played game from both sides, and that was FAU Northwestern. Northwestern wins that one 77-65 in overtime. Like I said, this was just a disgusting game to watch, honestly. Northwestern and FAU both had their moments of, actually good basketball play, but those were few and far between. FAU had a very confusing final possession, which saw them just kind of run out the clock for some reason and then take a bad shot. I didn't get it, but whatever. Northwestern advances to the round of 32. It was, like I said, Florida Atlantic, I believe it was with, I want to say, less than a minute left. They had a 58-56 lead, and they were on a 13-2 run. It was their game to lose. I believe they fouled, gave Northwestern an opportunity at the line, tie up the game, and then, like I said, they just ran out the clock. And then Northwestern just goes on an 18-3 run in overtime and takes away this game. And here we are. Northwestern advances to the round of 32. Moving on, the 5-12 game, it was San Diego State holding off a very fight from UAB. They win this one 69-65. I believe it got as close as 66-65 in the final minute. UAB just couldn't make shots in the end. But it was San Diego State, the reigning national runner-ups, moving on to the round of 32. And like I said, UAB had their chance in this game. They went on a 14-2 run, like right in the middle of the second half, which got them the lead. I believe it was right around 54-49, something like that. They were in the lead. And that was their moment. They didn't continue to put the foot on the gas. They kind of just laid back for a minute, and San Diego State got right back in this game and advanced. Auburn, the SEC tournament champions, they fall to Yale 78-76 in a game that Yale almost had no reason for winning. Auburn controlled this game most of the time. Yale got in a few shots in the first half. I believe they had a 18-16 lead, and that was their only lead of the first half. And then coming out of halftime, Yale went on a 10-0 run to take a 44-43 lead, and that was just answered by a 10-0 run from Auburn, and Auburn took a 55-46 lead. And it looked like Auburn were going to control this game until the end. It would be Yale going on a 12-2 run right within the last few minutes to take a lead to 70-72 with Auburn still in the lead. And then we just had missed shots galore. Yale takes a lead right at the end, 78-76. They walk away victorious. They are moving on to the round of 32, where they will face off against San Diego State. That should be an interesting matchup. Moving on, these were games on Thursday, but it's still the East region. It was BYU falling to Duquesne. I said Duquesne is going to be dangerous in this tournament. Their coach retiring, all that kind of stuff around it. You know that they were going to play for their coach, and that's exactly what they did. And what a game this was in the second half. This was just a back and forth, shot after shot. If team missed, it seemed like the other team missed. We end up with the 71-67 final. Duquesne moves on. And I do think a part of this was Duquesne started the game on a 12-2 run. They went on a 14-1 run with around 7 minutes left in the first half. And then basically coming out of halftime, they went on a 13-2 run. This game was all about runs. Duquesne very much controlled that. They walk away victorious here. Their first tournament win since 1969. Of course, this is their first tournament since 1978, I believe the stat was. A great win for the program. Obviously, all the circumstances around it, they had to win in Brooklyn to even make the tournament. They weren't getting here as an at-large. They were only getting here as a champion, and that's what they did. Head coach Keith Dambrot, like I said, retiring at the end of the season. He's had a very storied career in basketball. I know the players are going to go out there, try to get them to a Sweet 16. I don't know if it's going to be possible because they are going to be playing the Illinois Fighting Illini, and Illinois just absolutely controlled the Morehead State Eagles. The Fighting Eagles, I believe it actually is. Morehead State, they were never really in this game. They did have the lead early on, and it never felt like it was going to last. We went into halftime a 39-38 Illinois lead, and Illinois just second half controlled the game, capped off by a 20-3 run right around the 14-minute mark that started, and there was no coming back from Morehead State. They easily controlled this game. They walk away victorious in this one. A game that a lot of people picked as an upset, and I said, I'm not so sure. I wouldn't be surprised. I know I picked the upset, but still, I said I wouldn't be surprised if this goes out the other way. And that was Washington State getting a 66-61 victory over Drake. Drake had this game in their hands. I believe it was with right around 7 minutes left. They had a 54-48 lead, and they just fell apart from there. It was Washington State taking the lead with right around 2 minutes to go, and they did not relinquish that lead. The Cougars move on. They're going to have a very, very tough test in the round of 32 against the Iowa State Cyclones. They absolutely dominated the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. I mean, they started the game on a 17-3 run. They had a 17-3 run coming out of half. They win this game 82-65. No big shockers at all in this one. So we're going to move on to the South region, where we had the number 1 seed, the Houston Cougars, defeat the Longwood Lancers 86-46. So this game, it was never really close, honestly, and I didn't really expect it to be any other way. Houston just controlled this game start to finish. They put up a lot of points, and they made sure that Longwood would be missing shots, and that's exactly what they did. I didn't expect Longwood to come into this game and, shock the world, but you can't really doubt Houston right now. The 8-9 game, a lot of people liked the other side in this one because of Kilsai Tominaga. He never showed up today, or yesterday, I should say, and it's quite sad that is how his tournament's going to end. I mean, he still had 21 points, but it wasn't enough to beat the Texas A&M Aggies as they win this game 98-83. I mean, Texas A&M, man, oh man, this team dominated. They seem like they're turning it on at the right time. I think this might be a dangerous situation for Houston in the round of 32. But, I mean, Texas A&M looks good right now. They're turning it on at the right time. I wouldn't be surprised if they do something special here against those Houston Cougars. Nebraska, still the only power conference team without a tournament win ever. We thought that streak was going to get broken. It inevitably did not. And it is the Aggies moving on to the round of 32. A game where it seemed like the upset was inevitable just because Wisconsin wasn't playing their best basketball at the end of the year. And that is James Madison defeating Wisconsin 72-61. Wisconsin truly never was in this game. I mean, James Madison went on a 12-2 run right at the beginning of the game. And then right before half, they went on a 12-0 run. And that just felt like that was the nail in the coffin for Greg Gard's Badgers. And I can't really say I'm surprised by this. I know a lot of people had the prediction of James Madison winning this game. They were coming into this tournament hot. And I can't really doubt them here. They played a really, really good basketball game against Wisconsin because Wisconsin can slow it down. And James Madison said, nope, we are not doing that today. Moving on, I don't know what to say about this Duke team. They get the 64-47 victory. At no point in this game did it look convincing to me. They kept leaving Vermont in the game until like the very end. I mean, we were, I think, at 56-47 with 5 minutes to go. And obviously Vermont did not make another shot the rest of the game. But this Duke team is just, they're not good. I don't know what the fix is because they got the talent. They're just not good. This Duke team is not good. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they lose to James Madison. I know they're not going to lose to James Madison, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. And I think their run ends in the Sweet 16. If it's Houston or Texas A&M, I think they get taken to the woodshed, but Duke moves on here. Moving back to another slate of Thursday games, this NC State team, they defeat Texas Tech 80-67. What a game this is from NC State. They won 5 games in 5 days in Washington, D.C. to win the ACC tournament. They come into this. Everybody thought, are they, ranked correctly? I said, they're probably right around where they should be. And they pull off the upset of the Red Raiders from Texas Tech. And it really was a 13-2 run with 11 minutes to go that put NC State in the driver's seat here. They never relinquished the lead back to Texas Tech. This game was over. DJ Burns, what a fun player he is. He's just fun to watch. Ben Middlebrooks, too, on NC State. I mean, dude had 21 points coming off the bench. Just a great, great player. Texas Tech just didn't seem like they could get it going. They had their opportunities and they just blew it. Now this game, it was something, and it was Oakland University, and that is Oakland in Rochester or Rochester Hills or Auburn Hills. All 3 cities are fighting over where Oakland University lies, but it is Oakland in Michigan, and they defeat the Kentucky Wildcats, a team full of NBA draft talent. They defeat them 80-76, led by Jack Golke's 10 made 3-pointers. He attempted 20 of them in the game. This dude does not shoot 2-point shots. He's just an outstanding player. He's coming off the bench too. He's not even starting, which that's saying something. It's weird because you always see these Cinderella stories. I know Golke said we're not a Cinderella story in the post-game interview. But you see teams like FGCU. You see teams like UMBC. You see teams like Fairleigh Dickinson. when it's a team in your own backyard, like, it's a different feeling about it because you know people that went to the college, you know the university because you're nearby it. It's a feel-good story, and I know a lot of people that are very happy about this. I mean, when you're beating Kentucky, I mean, this Kentucky team, I said they had a chance at winning the national title. My biggest worries is they didn't play defense. Well, they sure didn't guard the three-point shot, and that cost them this game as they lose 76-80. Oakland moves on to the second round of the tournament for the first time ever. And it's just, like I said, it's a good feeling for this team because it's a nearby team. I know the team. It's just very, very good vibes there. What a game this was, honestly. Colorado, coming in off the play-in game where they beat Boise State, they beat Florida 102-100. It's the first tournament game where both teams score over 100 points. I believe since 2005 was the stat, which that is something. And don't let the score fool you. This game was tied at 100 with a few seconds remaining, and it seemed like we were going to overtime. And then nice onion shot gets Colorado the victory. They're moving on to the round of 32, where they will face off against the Marquette Golden Eagles. The biggest worry for me was, is Tyler Kolek healthy? Is he going to play? Well, he did play in this game. He played 38 minutes. He didn't look bad. I mean, there was a little rust in the beginning, but it was Marquette running away with this game, even though it got a little interesting when they went into halftime down 43-36, and everybody's like, uh-oh, Marquette's doing it again, and then Marquette just blows them out of the water in the second half. They move on to the round of 32, where they look to vanquish some demons. Moving on to the Midwest region, speaking of vanquishing demons, that was what Purdue did. They get the win in the first round. They beat Grambling State 78-50. Zach Edey, he puts up 30 points, 21 rebounds, 2 assists, a double-double he had in the first half. There's nothing really to say much about this game. It was going to be interesting. You know, I didn't think Grambling was good enough to win this game, and clearly they weren't. Purdue gets the victory here. Utah State, they were the nightcap for the Mountain West, who have just had a brutal first round of the tournament again. They get a 88-72 victory, which felt like it was much needed for the conference. TCU, I think partially them not playing a great non-con this year cost them this. I mean, Utah State also has not played anybody great in the non-con. I kind of feel like whoever won that game kind of feels like a sacrificial lamb to Purdue. I mean, maybe, you know, something happens there. I don't think something's going to happen, but yeah, it's going to be interesting nonetheless. The game's in Indianapolis. Purdue should win the game easy, but you never know. Gonzaga, they were going up against McNeese State, a very, very popular Cinderella pick, this McNeese State team. They were 30-3 on the year. You also got to remember they played absolutely nobody this year, and that showed when Gonzaga got the 86-65 victory. At one point, this score in this game, I believe at half, was 48-25, and then it was like 39-73, something like that in the second half. It got ugly for McNeese State, and yeah, nothing really to be said there. Another popular, I personally took this one too, so Samford, you were so close. So close. They fall to Kansas 93-89, and they had all the momentum in the world. And then an absolutely awful foul call on Nick Timberlake going up for a dunk where it was all ball. It was all ball. They call a foul. Kansas gets bailed out. And they get the victory in this game, 93-89. And this Kansas, if Kansas drew probably 80% of the teams in this field, they probably lose this game. They obviously didn't. They obviously move on. They were so close to greatness. That's really what it was. So close to greatness. Another popular upset pick. This one actually came true. It was Oregon walking away with an 87-73 victory. Dana Altman remains undefeated in the first round at Oregon. No big surprise there. I said South Carolina's fraudulent. They're just not good. And yeah, that was proven very early on. Oregon went on an 18-2 run with 8 minutes remaining in the first half, and there was nothing that was going to come back for South Carolina there. That was a easy victory for Oregon. And now we got a very, very interesting storyline lining up for the second round as they are going to face Creighton. If you did not know, Dana Altman, he was head coach at Creighton back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Doug McDermott is now the head coach at Creighton, of course. He is, I believe it's 2 wins away from breaking Dana Altman's all-time wins record at Creighton, which is, obviously storylines galore. It's storylines galore in this game. Creighton got their victory against Akron 77-60. They controlled that game the whole game. Don't let anybody tell you else. They controlled that game. But a lot of juicy storylines lining up for that round of 32 game. Moving on to the 7-10 game, it was Texas, and they were going to go up against Colorado State, who they beat Virginia in that first 4 game. That was just absolutely disgusting. And it turned out Virginia basketball is kind of like, the flu. If you play them, you catch it, and it's just, it kills your basketball. Why do I say that? Because Colorado State had 11 points in the first half. Absolutely disgusting. Texas went on a 25-3 run from 14 minutes remaining in the first half to halftime. That Colorado State was never in this game. They were never going to win it. And then moving on to the bottom here, the number 2 seed, the Tennessee Volunteers, get an 83-49 victory over the Peacocks of St. Peter's. There would be no more Cinderella run for those Peacocks. Tennessee advances on to the second round, and here we go. We got another storyline game. Rick Barnes, the Tennessee coach, of course, was the coach at Texas when they went to the Final Four in 2003. He was the head coach when Kevin Durant was there for a year. Storylines galore in this one. Should be an interesting game nonetheless. And we move on to the final region, the West region. North Carolina gets a 90-62 victory over 16 seed Wagner, who won their play-in game against Howard. A great win for North Carolina there. I said Wagner probably keeps it close in the first half, and then it kind of pulled away. It happened a little bit, not much, but it was there. Michigan State gets a 69-51 victory over Mississippi State, and they went on a. I got to give it to Michigan State, my alma mater. I was out on this team. They came into this game, they were making their shots early, and I'm like, okay, this team, we got a good Michigan State team showing up today. Now, the question is, what Michigan State team shows up against North Carolina? That's a whole different story. But for now, they get a win in the tournament. They move on to the second round. They have an opportunity to beat a number 1 seed and not be the first number 1 seed knocked out this year. Should be an interesting game. This game didn't tip off until like 11:10 Eastern. It was Grand Canyon going up against St. Mary's. Everybody believing in St. Mary's again this year. It doesn't happen again. Grand Canyon walks away with a 75-66 victory, mostly helped by the 17-1 run they went on with right around, I think it was 17:30 remaining in the game. So right at the beginning of the second half-ish, St. Mary's cut it to a 35-34 lead, and then Grand Canyon just stormed on again. At the end of the run, it was 52-34, and this game was over basically. Grand Canyon advances in the tournament for the first time ever. This game, we knew there was not going to be a lot of defense played, and there sure wasn't. It was Alabama with a 109-96 victory over College of Charleston. Alabama moves on to the second round. They have a great opportunity to get to the Sweet 16 and possibly the Elite Eight, depending on who they play in that Sweet 16 game. I can't really say much else about this game. I mean, Alabama kind of was expected to win here, and it was kind of expected to be high scoring. That's exactly what happened. And really, this game only looks as close as it is was because Charleston went on an 11-1 run within the last 5 minutes just to bring it a bit closer. It was never really that close. And Alabama gets the victory there. Here's another one of why you don't follow everybody that's saying this is going to be an upset. Even when Vegas itself says this is going to be an upset, it is Clemson walking away with a 77-56 victory. The Lobos, coached by Richard Pitino, were never in this game. Absolutely never in this game. Of course, they made the tournament because they won the Mountain West conference tournament, I should say. And, I mean, everybody, I think everybody had New Mexico moving on, including myself. They obviously don't. Clemson moves on. I know a lot of people were suspect about Clemson, including myself, but here we are. They move on to the second round. Baylor dismantles Colgate. Colgate does not show up for the tournament once again, but hey, you know what? The Patriot League's awful. They continue to win it every year. They're going to keep doing this every year. They're going to make the tournament most likely every year, and they're still going to lay an egg every year. But hey, they still get the tournament money, so that's really all that matters. And a crazy game here. It was Dayton walking away with a 63-60 victory. It was with, I believe, 8 minutes left. They were down 56-40. They go on a 24-4 run to end the game, and they steal this game from Nevada, and Dayton moves on to the second round. It was a sight to behold because the last 5 of the first half and the first 5 of the second half, Nevada went on a 25-4 run. And, Dayton was in the game at that point. It was a close game. Nevada went on that run, and it's like, okay, Nevada's winning this game. Move them on to the second round. Got an important game against Arizona going up. They win that game 85-65. Nothing really outstanding happening there. And then all of a sudden, like I said, with right around 7-ish minutes left, it just all starts to collapse so fast for Nevada. And Dayton walks away with the victory here. I don't know if they can carry that momentum into this Arizona game, because that took a lot to come back, and I don't see it happening again. But I honestly wouldn't be shocked if this Dayton team knocks off Arizona, because just the way this tournament has been played, I'm really not surprised by anything anymore. So that was your first round. It has been a hectic first round. Probably by the time you're watching this, the second round will have already started. So make sure you tune into that. We will be back to recap it all on Monday. Exciting times are ahead. We are going to clinch Sweet 16 teams today and tomorrow. we're potentially going to have a Cinderella in the Sweet 16. Can't wait to find out who's there, who's not, what the big storylines are. It's all going to be covered here on Bracket Buster Breakdown. So thank you so much for watching. If you just stumbled across this video, click like, click subscribe, tell anybody you know about it. And thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again soon for another episode of Bracket Buster Breakdown.